so Tomorrowland. Now, did you guys catch? Okay, we got someone's feeding back really, really badly. Is it Star? That may have been you, Star. So I've just muted you for the moment. So when you want to talk, just unmute. Yeah, we can't give up on movie night because this has been far too much fun. Now, hold on. Did you guys catch the name in the movie when they're standing in the Eiffel Tower? They talk about a special club called Plus Ultra. Now, have any of you guys actually researched any of this shit? Okay, I fell down this rabbit hole in February of this year, where something came up. Like, it was just one of those things where you go to a link that leads to a link that leads to a link, and then this word Plus Ultra came up, and I got to this strange website that was like Stop Plus Ultra. Now, the premise of all the websites is that it's fictional. It's all gamer stuff, apparently. But when you go and you start doing your background reading and then you start researching the characters involved, you kind of start going, oh, wait a second. There's something a little more here than meets the eye. There's something a little strange here. So in the Eiffel Tower, you have the meeting. And the story goes that at the World's Fair, and I think it was 1892, I think, don't quote me on the date. In 1892 in the World's Fair, it was in Paris, Nikola Tesla, Edison, Jules Verne, and the architect Eiffel, who of course built the Eiffel Tower, all met in a secret room that was in the Eiffel Tower and purportedly put together this special club called Plus Ultra. And the idea was to bring about Tomorrowland. Coming together, bringing the greatest minds of their time together to build Tomorrowland. So, Fred, it gets interesting when you start, because I didn't know anything about Eiffel. Like, the Eiffel Tower, oh, look, the guy who built the Eiffel Tower, his name is Eiffel. Well, I didn't know that. Like, I knew literally nothing about this guy. So I started going in and researching the characters. And, of course, we all know Nikola Tesla's story. You don't really need to research that. And I started researching, Eiffel. So here's the thing. Okay, Andre, you're asking, was this a real thing? This is where my question goes. You look at your four main characters. The four main characters being Jules Verne, Eiffel, Tesla, and Edison. Okay? Eiffel built the Eiffel Tower, and after building the Eiffel Tower, so at some point in time after this purported meeting happened, he was called in to do consulting on the Panama Canal. Now, he didn't do anything. He did nothing. He didn't so much as design anything. He was called in just as a consultant to kind of give some advice. And whatever happened with the original Panama Canal stuff that was going through, it got fucked bad. And they sued him. And he lost everything. And he lost everything so badly that he quit doing architecture at that point. He quit. And I can't remember what he ended up taking up, but he took up some other hobby that had no way affiliated with architecture and engineering. And he was apparently a master engineer, which is why they called him in. So we have his story. Jules Verne, right around the time of this purportedly happened, someone tried to murder him. And I believe, if I remember correctly, when I was going through my research, and like I said, this was a few months back now, there were 2 attempts on his life to kill him. And in the end, he kind of lost almost everything as well. Now, we all know the story of Nikola Tesla. What happened to Nikola Tesla? He lost everything. They decimated his name. They wiped him out of the history books. and he died pretty much penniless. Okay, what happened to Edison? Well, Edison's the sellout, right? We all know that Edison was the sellout who took all the credit for everything Tesla did, took all the credit for a lot of shit other people did, and he is the baby boy, the shining baby boy that's in all the history books. Now, when it gets even more interesting, and I'm going to pull up this screenshot of this information on, and apparently one of the other people who was involved in this was H.G. Wells. Okay, so this is a Disney Wiki Plus Ultra fandom site. And it was one of those places where I kind of started looking at some of this stuff. Now I've lost Zoom. Where's Zoom? Screen. Okay, so, and they went out and they recruited people. How were the people they recruited? Amelia Earhart, Leo Szilard, I can never say his name properly, Albert Einstein, Howard Hughes, Fitz Lang, Samuel Langhorne Clemens, i.e. Mark Twain, Orson Welles, keep going, hold on, Ray Bradbury, who if anyone knows science fiction, and Walt Disney. This is a Disney, Tomorrowland is a Disney movie. Now the story goes, and like I said, when you start trying to research this, it becomes really, really fucking convoluted. Because you have all this shit that's put out as fandom, as fiction, as nonsensical, just, made up stuff. This is the other site. This is the site about Plus Ultra. And now, again, this is carried off as it's being a gamer site, a fiction site, same thing, okay? Except that when you start putting pieces together and you start looking at the backgrounds of some of these people, all of a sudden you start going, oh, wait a second. Oh, wait a second. Now, one of the most villainized people in the alternative media anyways is Walt Disney. But how many of you have actually researched Walt Disney's past and like the shit that he went through? Okay, we get all the plus, all the stuff is modern Disney. Oh, it's evil and it's devil worship and it's all this kind of shit. Same thing. I went and I found an article on rents.com. Wow, I'm like totally overlit. And I started reading this, and I read this, and I was just like, holy shit. They did everything to bury Walt Disney from the very beginning. They did everything they could to bury this man, to the point of stealing his inventions, stealing his cartoons, stealing his studios. I mean, it was a non-stop thing through basically from starting, I think it started in the 30s, maybe even the 20s, I can't remember. I'll put the link of this in here. So I read this, and 1920s, okay? And it's all about the Zionist regime and how they were doing everything they could to force him to be part of the Zionist regime. And he wouldn't have anything of it. Now, he announced, when you fast forward to all of this, he announced, let's see if I can actually get to the part where they talk about this. Hold on. No, back here. He announced that he was going to build Epcot Center. And Epcot Center, one of the main parts of that was going to be Tomorrowland. 8 months later, he was dead of lung cancer. 8 months later, Walt Disney was dead. As soon as they died, his brother sold out to the Zionists, and they took over everything. They wiped out Epcot Center. Epcot Center then wasn't, so we're talking, that was in the early 60s. Epcot Center wasn't built until what? The mid 80s before they started doing it? Everything was crushed and changed and warped. So I started doing cross-reference and trying to pull up more links to go with all this stuff. And the thing is, yes, everything is portrayed as fiction that you find, except that if you start cross-referencing, the stories kind of come together a little bit too coincidentally close to other shit that we know. There's a lot of shit in here. So when I saw, and I'd never seen this movie. And it wasn't until after I'd done all this research on Plus Ultra, et cetera, that I'm going through my hard drive. I'm going, oh my God, there's Tomorrowland. I do have a copy of it where we have to watch this. And I never ended up actually seeing the end of the movie. So I'm quite happy to have sat here with you guys and watched it. There's some shit in this movie that is really, really interesting from the fact of, like we said, so how did they make the future happen? They made it happen by broadcasting that it would happen and basically putting it into everyone's head, broadcasting what the future would be. You think I found the key? The key to what, Deb? Because I don't know why. I don't know. I'm literally, right? I haven't watched A Wrinkle in Time, and because I've been warned, because it was one of my favorite books as a kid, and I've been warned by everyone that if you loved the book, you're going to absolutely detest the movie because it apparently just takes the whole book and chucks it out. I'm gonna have to watch it though. I will. Maybe we'll even see if we can get a copy of that. Maybe we can find a copy and do A Wrinkle of Time in the next week or something. Yes. Fred, exactly. Manufacturing consent. The asshole, I'm going to call him House because I can never remember his name. Hugh Laurie, is that it? He just has his own fucking thing. And he's like, yeah, you people, you just suck it all up. And he literally has manufactured consent for the entire population by broadcasting, basically brainwashing and programming all the people into this place and then calling it consent. The entire population. Okay, so the pieces in here, the bit about the doorways and the dimensions, the bit about the looking into the past and into the future and the tachyons and all of this kind of stuff. Okay, we've been hearing this stuff for ages. We talk Montauk, we talk Looking Glass, and we talk all these different projects where purportedly they had the ability to do these things. And it was really, really interesting because Nick and I had a conversation this afternoon. And we were talking about, we watched science fiction, another one of those alien invasion type movies. What's it called? Battleship. We watched Battleship this afternoon. We hadn't seen it before. And I said, I find it very, very interesting that all these movies, so we talked about it in Avatar with the blue people. And I put forward when we were talking a couple of movies ago, and I said, what if the entire premise of Avatar, because you watch that movie and you feel disgusting at the end because you're a human being, like you feel so bad and so guilty for being human by the end of that movie that you literally almost want to slit your own wrist. It's that bad. And I said, but what if it's a flip? What if the flip is that Pandora is actually Earth? And that here was this beautiful place with people who were indigenous peoples who were tied to the Earth, who communicated with the Earth, and then these others came in, took control, raped, pillaged, the whole bit, and basically severed the connection with the planet, right? And then I said, well, here's the thing that kind of came up while we're watching this Battleship movie. It's another one of those typical movies. The aliens are coming, the United States forces, they end up saving the day, hoorah for Hollywood and all the rest. I said, but what if we keep having all these movies, whether it's Independence Day, whether it's Battle Over Los Angeles, whether it's, there was a new one we watched just a couple of months ago, or this one is Battleship. They're all the same premise. They don't ever tell you what the aliens are coming for. Just that the aliens are coming and they're just going to fucking take over and destroy everything. And I did the whole thing. Okay, what if that's the opposite? What if that's what we've been doing to other planets through the secret space program? And I said, if you've got in the 40s, you have Area 51, the Roswell crash, which are apparently, purportedly, they reverse engineered everything in our modern age from the Roswell crash. Who was in control at that time? The Bushes, the Rockefellers. They had all the money. Now, if you get your hands on this kind of technology and you have the money and you have fucking no morals and no soul and you just want to go out there, who's to say that they didn't build, we've heard enough about the secret space program that exactly, Fred, it's not that we did this, it's that they did this. Okay? What if during, I have to very, very much so look at the idea of the concept of the whole secret space program, that we've have so much information about it now. There have been so many, tons of people who've come forward about it from their own experiences, etc. That it to me has to be plausible. At the very least, we have to consider it a plausibility that this secret space program exists. So what if all this alien invasion movies that we have happening to Earth are what the secret space program has been doing to other planets? And I sat there and was like, okay, if you have all the money and all the power, like these guys did, especially back in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. That was when you basically you're looking at paperclip happening. So you have the best minds of the whole thing all being sucked into this brain pool. And I look at this movie Tomorrowland, and you have to wonder, if they had access to technology like Looking Glass, where they were able to go back or even look forward and say, oh, you know how we have to do this? You know what we have to do? We have to just convince all the people that humans are disgusting. It's all our fault. Convince them that the world is going to end. It's going to be a cataclysmic end, whether it'll be nuclear war or it's going to be an asteroid or it's going to be war, nuclear, something. And then let the people perpetuate it. A self-fulfilling prophecy. And let's throw a lot of religious books in there, just to really make sure we hammer it home. We'll throw in some Armageddon and some other stuff like this. There's pieces to this movie that are very, very deep. For all that it's a Disney movie and the end it's a feel-good movie, they're going to save and they're going to do this, etc. There's some deep pieces in this, and I think they bear a lot of research. So like I said, I went through and just on the plus ultra side of it, I started backtracking through and things like looking at Amelia Earhart when she fucking disappeared. And the plus ultra type documentation is the fact that she was flying to Tomorrowland. They were attempting to open a door mid-air. And that when she disappeared because she got through the door. Interesting shit. Can we prove any of it? Of course not. You can't prove any of it. But like I said, as you start to bring these little pieces together, the coincidentals of different characters who are purportedly have played roles in all of this, and you look at their lives, and you look at what they kind of stood for and what they wrote about. So you have things like Mark Twain, Ray Bradbury, Orson Welles. Look at the books that they wrote.
Sorry.
Look at the books that they wrote. The topics in these books. Pretty fucking interesting. So, guys, what do you think? I want to hear what you guys have to think about this because, like I said, I'm rambling here. I'm just giving you my pieces and the shit that kind of have come to me on this topic. But I think this is a movie that everyone should watch and actually really kind of Tomorrowland.
Oh.
And really kind of take a look at it. Some of the things that are being stated. Oh, really, Fred? So Fred just said, I actually grew up near the Eiffel Tower, always saw something there, but never knew exactly what. There you go. Maybe there's this hidden rocket ship somewhere in the Eiffel Tower. Maybe there's a hidden room in there with, the infamous meeting place. Well, I mean, this is the thing. And if you look at Nikola Tesla, I mean, you have various experiments that Nikola Tesla did. And when you tie it all together, is the fact that they say, like, was that what he was doing? Nikola Tesla was looking for the way to open the doorway between the two worlds. And that was, it's very, very funny. I read a very humorous book by one of my favorite authors, Spider Robinson, and Nikola Tesla is actually in the books. In the future, of course, because he's a time traveler by that point. And in that story, Nikola Tesla is the one who caused the Tunguska event. And he was testing out a new method of trying to move energy, and that's what caused the explosion in Tunguska. And of course, it's never been proven, but again, you got the timing is just kind of right. And considering the other shit that we know that he did, like i.e. made an earthquake machine in his apartment with a record player that he almost took down New York City with. So the kind of shit that you go, yeah, you could see how a guy like Tesla could be involved in something like this.
I was going to say, if I may, that, yeah, it's like even some of the documentaries I have watched on him. I mean, even Nikolai even supposedly suffered from head pains. See, it had something to do with his mental and physical state, but yet he was able to create all this fucking awesome stuff. So yeah,
which we don't even know about these days. Like, we really, really don't even know what exactly he created, because all those files were like scooped up by the FBI.
And like you said earlier, he died basically a penniless man.
He died penniless. He was just a crazy inventor. He was just a crazy old man who invented crazy shit that never worked. Right?
I mean, some of it worked, unfortunately. A lot of it just, unfortunately, got confiscated and buried deep in the vaults and used for other purposes, we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Maury, I've read that too, but I've never yet seen any kind of absolute proof. Maury just said, I've read a few times the lead agent who absconded with those files of Tesla's was Donald Trump's uncle. I've heard this story a bajillion times said, and I'm like, show me the proof, guys. Like, show me something. Show me, like, the guy's name on documents and then backtrack the lineage to prove that Trump is not that rare a name, right? It's not like it's Smith, but it's also not like it's, something really, really obscure. So.
Oh, may I?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. I wanted to address something that actually it's self-corrected at the end of the movie. When they start giving out the pins to everybody, when they start talking about the dreamers and we need to get the dreamers together. And we are also, one of the things we're also brainwashed, one of the programmings, and I've been there, is to make us believe that our only, air quotes, our only future are the kids. Yes, of course, but not only. We are part of it also. We are important also. We're not just here to hold and push the kids,
And I loved it at the end of the movie when it was like there was the old guy who's obviously like a park ranger in Africa somewhere. Yeah,
right.
Dreamers.
That's why I like
Dreamers.
Self-correct that.
Yeah,
they do talk about Yes, then they kind of self-correct, and you see all these people from all these places, from all these ages. You can be 10 or be 110. There is no age for that. It's the dreamer awakes, the dreamer awakes. You start remembering, you start connecting with your real self, your organic self, you're shedding your programs. It doesn't fucking matter how old you are.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
Well, it's funny because when we saw them gathering all the kids in front of them and speaking, I assumed it was kids, and then I realized no, they're all automatons. They're all robots, just like the girl was, the little girl was, and that's why they sent them out.
Yeah, there's another point too on building on what quote Fred just said. I'm absolutely convinced that they don't all have to be genius level scientists or doctors or any of that high class stuff by society standards. Plenty of garbage men and mechanics and unemployed and all kinds of things actually are in that mix. They don't ever give us credit, or low economic station people credit for anything, but we know better, don't we?
No, and that's it. And that's just, I mean, that was the whole thing that I loved, is the fact that, like, okay, the one guy was a math professor that they showed at the end. He was writing on the board. And the one woman was like an engineer or worked for the car company. But then you saw, like, the park ranger out just driving the Jeep in Africa. And you saw the musician just playing on the side of the road. And you saw the girl who's doing the chalk drawings. And you know what I mean? Like, it isn't just like the Einsteins and the Teslas. It isn't. It's the dreamers. It's the people who have the ability to dream, but not just that, who haven't lost hope, who are working towards it. Like, we can and we will change it, and we're going to do it. Yeah, Doppy, good word. The visionaries. And I think maybe that's a better word than the dreamers. It would have been better if they could have said, instead of the dreamers, if they'd said, because the dreamers is kind of a little like dismissive. Because you say that about someone, oh, look, they're just a daydreamer. They're not, you know. The visionaries, I think that's the better word to have used. The visionaries. Well, and that's it, Penny. Okay, we look at our schools. They are getting rid of all the gifted programs. What are they getting rid of? They're getting rid of anything in a school that allows for creativity and imagination, i.e. all the arts programs, all the music programs, anything that's like drama, anything that gives children an outlet to be creative, to be inventive, to use their imagination is being completely smothered right now in school systems. And yeah, someone brought up the fact of the ADHD medication. There's no such thing as ADHD. There's none. But they've come up with this thing, and then they can just like drug down a population of all these children. Let's just drug them right down. And the adults too. I know so many adults that are all taking ADHD medication now, and Ritalin, and taking all these, like, it's not just the kids. It's anyone who shows any, and that's why I say they're now coming up with all these psychological, what's the words, diseases, like odd, you know, which is what's something defiant disorder.
They have a label for everything.
But anything that is outside the box is being labeled as a problem. So it's like if you now care too much about your health and what you're eating and what you're putting into your body, that's now a psychological problem, and they have a defining word for it. I can't remember what it is now, but yeah, they've defined it, and they're like, yeah, oh no, that person, they're thinking way too much about healthy food and what they're putting in their body and exercise. They have this psychological problem.
Yeah.
Oppositional defiant disorder. Thank you, Andrea. I'm like, it's an O word. I can't remember. Opposed. It's.
Well, there's so many because everything's got a label. Everything's got a name. Anything we do.
Yep.
There's a pill for that, you know.
Oh, there's a pill for everything. Oppositional defiance disorder. So if you defy the norm, if you stand up for yourself as a child or an adult, if you stand up for yourself and say, no, that's not right, I don't agree, now you're diagnosed with being ODD. Odd.
Ah, God, you're killing me.
I can't make this shit up.
I know.
Seriously.
Right? Jeez Louise.
They need a label to medicate. Exactly, Andrea. Exactly.
Hi, Dee, can you hear me?
Lily, say it again.
Hi, Dee, can you hear me?
Not, you're coming through, but it's like you're all broken up.
I apologize.
It's another dimension.
You know what Dee?
We can't really hear you very well, hon. You sound like a robot that's underwater about 10 miles away.
Okay, I'm going to write it in the chat.
Okay, write it into the, you're cutting out so badly.
Okay.
And Deb, you've got your hands up. I don't know if you've got your hand up for a while. I've just noticed.
I didn't want to jump in.
You're allowed to. Come on, seriously.
Well, you know what I mean. The Gifted Child Program, the reason they've ended it, I think, is because they've got the kids all drugged. Now, I was at the beginning during the 60s, and these kids are talking about it now. I've got 30 years on them from when I started. The only thing I remember is a room. They drew the curtains. The doors were locked. I remember giant headphones, flashcards, and some of them I think were kind of like the ones they used to do to check if you were psychic. I remember taking tests.
Really?
With some kind of pink or red liquid before class started. And when I finally was out of the program, that all I remember was that it was boring, and I decided to leave. All these kids now that were in it and don't remember anything else about this program have that same memory, and that is it. I don't remember one fucking thing about that class besides those flashes. I have no idea what happened in that class.
Have you
I know
ever,
I wasn't molested.
No, but have you ever tried, I don't know, like hypnosis regression to see if you can come up with find out
No.
were they
I don't.
like literally testing you for psychic abilities, do that kind of shit? I mean, I'm sure that's a la Fringe. I mean, fucking watch Fringe. It's all about Fringe.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing is we all had near-death experiences. I almost died before I was 1 from emergency tonsillectomy. Almost died just when I was 4. I got one of the first mumps shots. I got viral encephalitis, very rare, happened from mumps. I'm one of 30 survivors in the world. That almost killed me. That's when I had a program. Yeah, and I ended up in that program. I was reading Nancy Drew by that time. In fact, even higher level. I was speaking full sentences by the time I was 6 months old. I've always been a smart ass, I guess. I was at college level. My husband's laughing. I've always been at college level when I was an adolescent with their stuff. It bored me. In fact, I barely passed anything by the time I left school because I was bored.
Bored to shit.
Yeah. My husband just stopped going. He eventually got a GED because he was very intelligent, but he didn't get placed in any of those programs. But I'm wondering, the reason they stopped it is because now they're drugging the creative kids that have something. But I don't know what happened to me during that. And I don't trust anybody to hypnotize me.
Yeah, no,
one of my friends, her father was a hypnotist. Yeah. You know, if my husband was there with me to make sure, to find out what the hell went on would be interesting, but otherwise, no. So it's just, I think they've stopped the gifted program because they've got drugs now just to squash them down that way.
Huh.
And they decided they're not going to use a lot of people, and the ones they have used, maybe they're the ones who are, they talk about being in these programs and, you know, kind of like that Og type guy. He makes no sense to me. I've tried following him, and it's like another language. Anyway, you know, maybe certain people, they found certain talents and they're using them for something else. Who knows? I don't know. A couple of kids said, "Oh no, we did all these things and that." So maybe they had alternate gifted child programs. They don't even call it that anymore. It's
Well, I mean, it could be
else.
anything, right? Like if you show a talent, if something shows up and they separate you off into groups, like some people have this talent,
Right.
have this talent, and
And they
therefore it
had-
changes the program, right?
Yeah, and these kids didn't go into the dark room either. That was locked. Marlena was in that briefly, and her mom yanked them out. And you even talk about it. She gets extremely upset. It really sets something off in her, and she doesn't know what, and she doesn't want to deal with it.
Have you
I
watched
can't-
Fringe?
Oh yeah, I haven't finished it. You know, I think the last episode I watched is when they put the girl, she was frozen in that stuff. I just hadn't finished it because we told Netflix to suck balls. So,
Well, like in the end of the first season and into the beginning of the second season, when she finds out that she was one of those kids that was all the testing was done on, and that they, you know, she has no memory of it, right?
right.
She has no memory of any of it until they start literally till she starts forcing the memories to the surface, and then she realizes that she was a test subject and they drugged her full of this drug to open up those pathways and to trigger her to be able to use her mental powers.
Yeah. So was that what the pink shit was? You know, it's just kind of like, what the hell? And yes, Joseph Ogtelis, to me, he's speaking a total foreign language. I cannot follow him. It's all over, scattered all over the map, and he uses words, I know what they mean, but
they don't.
It's like they're overcomplicated and strange in the way he puts them together. So I can't. He might as well be speaking French because I don't understand French. So anyway, I just want to tell you about that with the gifted and the AD, whatever, and I will post that in UnFucker's.
Yeah, definitely.
There was no other info. It's the natural news guy.
Post it, because it would be interesting. It would be very interesting. So Wild Lily wrote in because she couldn't obviously tell us over the call. She says, what I'm seeing is distraction. In other words, what you said, Dee. They never tell us what the aliens want, but they're coming, right? And doesn't that take our focus off them stealing, raping, and pillaging land? Them, as in the people who are already fucking here. Whether this is a construct or not, and what is the relevance of land? It is coming to me that the land is the real focus we are being shifted from. Well, going back to my analogy of Pandora and the Avatar movie, the connection was to the land, right? Like there was that incredible connection there that was, you know, like the memories being shared, etc., between the people and all the beings. So like not just the people and the land, but the people and the animals and the trees, etc. I don't know, maybe that should be the next movie we watch.
What, Avatar?
Avatar. I don't know.
Okay. I was paying mostly attention. I was making sure. Okay. I'm glad I fucking didn't drift off too goddamn much. I was looking at the chat too.
Yeah. Interesting shit, my friends. Interesting fucking shit. I'm going to have to head off to bed really, really soon because Oh, Fred, are you saying something?
Yeah, really quick. The idea of an organic Earth and them quote unquote them, trying to distract us from Earth, from the planet, from, Avatar type clean planet. In my view, as I've come to think of it, is not incompatible with the idea of us being in a simulation of sorts. Because the quote unquote simulation can be just an overlay on top of the organic. It doesn't have to be all circuitry and not necessarily a fucking motherboard. It can be a real, Earth thing with a fucking overlay, which is the whatever, call it the parasite, whatever you want, just kind of went and occupied, and there's a whole layer of that. So it's not even incompatible.
It's not.
Really.
And you know what? The thing is with that, Fred, we have so many pieces that we bring together, and so many theories that we throw onto the table all the time. I mean, God knows that's what we specialize in this group in doing. So every theory we come up with, fucking throw it on the table, see what sticks. But there's so much that we don't know. And it is very easy to say, okay, well, there's this theory here and there's this theory here, and they're incompatible. But that may be just because we don't see where the connections are. The puzzle pieces that we're missing don't show the connections between these different things. Andrea posted a really interesting article in UnFucker's, I think it was this morning or maybe last night for you guys in North America. And it was, I think, a little article from 2010 about black holes. And I remember when the article came out, because a pile of us got into a huge discussion on it, that's the theory, and it was a major theory that was put out in like major scientific journals, that every black hole leads to another universe.
Right, love.
Leads to another universe. And then you jump ahead to like 2013, and you have all these articles talking about CERN and crashing particles and their search for the God particle and their search for all this stuff. 2015, what did CERN do? CERN refired up again, started crashing particles, and were creating mini black holes. Now, all the articles about these mini black holes was CERN has detected these mini black holes. And therefore, this goes a long way to proving that there are other dimensions, et cetera, et cetera. But what if CERN actually created these black holes? I.e., if they created these mini black holes and each mini black hole created another parallel universe. And I sat there and was like, oh, and it just so happens that they were doing these experiments in CERN in March, in April, and the beginning of May in 2015. And when was the Mandela effect really start blow out onto the scene? June of 2015. Now, does that mean that you take that one theory and say, oh, that doesn't work with the world as a simulation, or that doesn't work with the whole idea of the Pandora type stuff that we were talking about? That doesn't mean that at all. It means that all these things could all quite literally all be tied together in ways that we just can't see. We can't back out enough yet to be able to see all the connections. Or none of them might be right. And the missing pieces are so incredibly way out there that we haven't even come up with the theory yet. Okay, well, darlings, I gotta go to bed. I'm literally falling over. I'm really, really tired. I meant to try and have a nap this afternoon. Yeah, it didn't happen. So, let everyone know, as we were talking to everyone before the show started, we are moving all the websites to our own private server. Yay! Because we've had such a horrific time with doing, using hosting programs, et cetera, et cetera. It's been horrific. I mean, you guys know how many times you go into RTS or UnFucker's or even Gaia's Garden, and it just won't load. The servers are down. The databases are corrupted, et cetera. We've just said, fuck this shit. So we are going to be migrating over to our literal own physical server. It will be ours. John Carl will have full control, so he'll be able to set it up how we want it to do what we want. Now, with the movies, I'm hoping that we can figure out a way to be able to do the movies differently so that we're not doing it like this, in the hopes that we can get better, because like today's movie was really hard. I don't know, some of you guys seemed it wasn't so bad. Some of us, it was so disjointed, not just the audio not syncing with the video, but literally it was like you were only seeing every second or third frame. Discord is no better, hun. Discord, Penny, is not any better. It's not faster. If we're overloading Zoom with doing that, I don't know. I don't know, because when we first did it, the first two movies, the first movie we watched all together was perfect. Audio was synced, video was synced, everything was just brilliant. And then it's progressively gotten worse each week. It's literally gotten worse and worse. So I don't know. We're going to play around with it and see if we can come, because I am not willing to give up this. I love doing our movie nights together. I really do, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. I look forward to our movie nights together. I really do. So we will find another way. With the private server, there's a way we may even be able to do live streaming directly from our own private server, so we don't even have to involve YouTube anymore and all those fucktards. And we'll see. The other good thing is with the private server, it's going to be a relatively big server. I think we've got 2 terabytes on the server, which means the library is going to get built even more so. It'll be a fuck of a lot easier to do it, other than having to go to clouds and have to upload into the cloud and then embed links, etc., etc. So what John and I were thinking is we will dedicate a certain amount of the server space to, now obviously even 2 terabytes, if you're dealing with movies and TV shows, etc., are going to get chewed up pretty quick. But maybe we can do things like, for example, for 1 month or 2 months, we'll have like all of the Fringe on there. And maybe all of a few, we'll have like, maybe 20 or 30 movies on there and a couple of series. And then everyone can download what they want, or they can just sit on and online and just watch it as they want. And then we'll have to rotate them through. Although I think we may need Fringe to be up there permanently, because, it's Fringe. Jules, fucking Fringe is one of the best shows ever created. I'm sorry, it really is. Seriously, I can just watch that show over and over again. And every time I watch it, I find new stuff, and you're like, oh, I can't believe they just said that. So, yeah, we're going to start getting that library really properly built. And then we can share lots of stuff. We can share all the data files, and I've got like all these fucking documents and ebooks and all that shit. But if we do it this way, then if you guys have files, then you guys can send them either to John or to me, and we can upload them. We'll see, right? But yeah, new server. Yay! So excited. The other thing I want to let you guys know is, okay, so any of you guys who are Gaia's Garden customers will notice after today that the prices have gone up. And we just had to sit down and redo all of our fucking numbers, because if there's new import duties, there's new fucking taxation rules, etc., and holy shit. So that is why I launched the Gaia's Garden private membership, because I don't want the unfuckers to have to be stuck with a lot of the price raising that we have to do in order to do distribution. Because we can't distribute even to shops here in Malta with the prices that we had. There's just no way. So I've raised the prices on Gaia's Garden, but there's the Gaia's Garden membership site, and all unfuckers who are part of the unfuckers membership are already enrolled for free. So anyone who's an unfucker, who's already an unfuckers member, you guys will automatically, all you have to do is sign in. You'll see there's an unfuckers special membership just for you guys. So you just go in, click it, it's free, because you guys have already paid for your membership. No, Deb, it's okay. So I want to make you guys aware that, like I said, and if you're not an unfucker and you unfucker member, you can actually become a member of the Gaia's Garden. It's $20 a year. and that's just to help us cover all our costs, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that is going ahead too, and that will all get moved to our new private server too. Yay! So maybe my emails will actually get delivered to people's inboxes, because right now, every email from all my email accounts, whether it's Gaia's Garden, RTS Earth, UnFucker's, it doesn't matter, they go directly into everyone's spam box. And it is driving me nuts, and there's nothing I can do about it, so I don't know what the fuck is going on. So, yeah.
You're just a very busy lady.
No, I'm fucking insane. That's all there is to it. I'm just fucking insane. Is there anything else? Okay, movie ideas. I will put up the poll again tomorrow. Go in and vote for what movie we want to watch next week. And give me an idea. Like, guys, like I said, in the commentary on the poll, like, if you've got another really good idea of a movie, then fucking chuck it in there so we know, and we can add it to the list of shit that we should be watching. Anything else? Have I forgotten anything? Oh, right. Yes, Wednesday night there will not be an Unfuck It discussion. There will be a deep immersion. It is going to be a deep immersion with Cara St. Louis and Benjamin and myself. We've been trying to do this. This will be third attempt, so this will be like 3 times the charm, right? It will probably maybe even be a bit of a shorter show. It may only be about an hour long, because Cara has to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning the next day. So that's going to be Wednesday night, and I think that's it. So yeah, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys. If you guys want to continue chatting, I can make Mr. Starwalker the host, and then you guys can all just go off, and I'm just going to go to bed, because, wow, I'm out of coffee, and I'm done.
And which is actually a good sign, because if you're out of coffee, that's an even better excuse just to sleep. It's like, fuck it. Yeah, it's empty. Yeah, I'm done.
Well, you know what's really bad? I was just joking with Anne. I actually think that I'm starting to have a reverse effect with coffee. We went out for dinner, first time in ages. We went out and got burgers two nights ago. No, last night. Last night we went out for burgers, and I had a double espresso with my dinner, and I went home and I went to bed, and I was like out cold, like just like I got home, it was like, I have to go to bed. It was 7 o'clock at night. I have to go to bed like right fucking now, and I laid down and I was out for an hour, just did the same thing the next day. I was like, I'm so tired, I just have a coffee. Oh look, I'll have this coffee. Right, I'm ready for bed now. I don't know, I think actually coffee's working the opposite for me now. Actually puts me to sleep. Such is life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you make me the host already or not?
I did, hon. You are the host. You are the host with the most.
And this chicken.
Yeah, and Chris, you're right. Coffee, when you have the zonkouts, like, and this last week has been epic. I don't know about the rest of you guys. I have been seriously all fucking week. What the actual fuck is going on? And it doesn't matter how much coffee. Does not matter how much coffee. If you have to zonk out, it doesn't matter if you've drank an entire pot of espresso, you're going to sleep.
It's the same thing on weed, on marijuana. You can smoke and try to keep awake, but once your body lets you know in your head, it's like, you know what, I'm going to have to just, I've gotten so accustomed to just sleeping high. And
yeah, that can be a problem. I know a lot of people who did that. And then you get to the point where you can't sleep unless you're high.
Well, thankfully, I've disciplined myself on that, because I couldn't imagine doing what Graham Hancock used to do. In an interview with Joe Rogan, Graham Hancock said, like, I'm trying to remember, this was like way, way back. He was saying that, yeah, Graham was like, got to the point where he's like, I would do my work during the day and then have my smoke until like from 9 p.m. to like when he slept. Yeah, when he actually, sleep, he said he got to a point where it's like he was letting it control him. Yep. Being like high from 9 in the morning to like 2 a.m. that night.
That's not good.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I abused it. He said it's such a wonderful plant. It should be respected just like anything else.
Okay, my darlings. I'm running away now. I love you. And I'll see you guys Wednesday.
Love you. Sweet dreams.